Hello again, I'm Arba Kumson. It is the day after the most anticipated election in the world, and in all the 18 months of campaigning, no one and nothing could have prepared observers around the globe of what happened last night as Donald John Trump rose from the ashes to beat Hillary Clinton, who many assumed would be given the #1 job in the United States. Mr. Trump became the 45th U.S. president after he won decisively in a handful of key swing states and in the battlegrounds of Florida, Ohio, and North Carolina. In his victory speech, Donald Trump told his supporters that his opponent had called him to concede and reached out to his political opponents to help him build the country.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business. Complicated. Thank you very much. I've just received a call from Secretary Clinton. She congratulated us, it's about us, on our victory, and I congratulated her and her family on a very, very hard-fought campaign. I mean, she fought very hard. Hillary has worked very long and very hard over a long period of time, and we owe her a major debt of gratitude for her service to our country. I mean that very sincerely. Now it's time to bind the wounds of division. Have to get together. To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people. Time.
And President-elect Donald Trump there, as you can imagine, the mood at the various camps were starkly different. It was tears for the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton supporters and jubilation for Donald Trump and many Republicans. Head of our political desk here at Joy News, Evans Mensah, who is in the U.S. monitoring the polls there, has been speaking to some of the supporters. Watch.
So tell me, what's the feeling right now?
I feel like that we've got rid of the corrupt Hillary Clinton and the corrupt machine that her and Bill Clinton have been in for years. They're done. They're through. They're finished. And we've got a new leader, and we're going forward.
What about you? What is it that won it for Trump, would you say?
I think it was going back to our grassroots and going back to our, what we were built on, which is the Constitution. And I think everybody sees the corruption, and they feel like that, we do need to be back to that and come back to that and come back to, the Christianity and the people. That's what it's about.
We started this night. Did you actually believe you will win?
Absolutely. I'm his county chair. We had nothing but a win. Listen, Trump won this because he's sincere, he's honest, he's a great American, just like us. He speaks to us, he listens to us, and he's going to take this country and make it great again.
Yes, amen.
On a very personal note, what does it mean for you, your own personal life and the way you expect this country to improve going forward?
We are good, down-to-earth people. We are humans, and Donald Trump is too, and he personifies the goodness on this earth, and he deserves this.
Great.
We deserve this.
Great. I know the night is still young because the final victory speech will be giving. What do you expect Trump to be saying tonight?
I expect him to be saying that this was a movement and that the American people came out for him and that we are going to make America great again.
Yes. That's right.
You?
We're going to make our army, our military great again.
Yeah.
We're going to make it strong. We're going to make it more than anybody ever thought about our military.
Yeah.
Well, the political parties have had their own say on their assessment of how the American elections panned out. President Mahama has already congratulated the new U.S. president-elect. And earlier, the NDC's General Secretary, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, indicated his party identified with the Democrats. Campaign coordinator of the NDC, Kofi Adams, however, his explanation of Hillary Clinton's defeat is that she should have known that she was not the choice of her party. Well, on the part of the NPP, party advisor, campaign advisor, Oboshisai Kofi, has been speaking to us about what this victory means.
Traditionally, there's been a sort of a lineup between us and the Republicans, but I think this time, this particular election, we have to talk about maybe the issues that have formed the basis of the campaign, Donald Trump's campaign and Hillary Clinton's campaign. And we need to congratulate them both, the president-elect for the win and Senator Clinton for a really hard-fought fight, and the people of America for going through the process professionally and peacefully. But we are fighting our own internal battle on the platform of change, and I believe the lesson I'm learning is that the message of change resonates when the electorate are feeling disadvantaged, dissatisfied, and neglected. I think the majority of Americans voted for change because that's how they felt. I believe that Ghanaians know that feeling even more. And we are at a place where we are recognizing that we, as Ghanaians, have not received what we need from this government. And I'm hoping that people will vote for change.
Well, flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Papakwesi Indum, sees this differently. According to him, Donald Trump's victory is evidence that underdogs can win an election. And as we know, he's an underdog in this election.
I believe that what has been going around the world, including in Africa, in Europe, in the UK, it is telling all of us something, that the people are not happy. The people are dissatisfied, disenchanted with what is known as the establishment, or sometimes what we refer to as the system. And that particularly when we have so-called regular people, ordinary people, who feel shortchanged in life, whose aspirations are not realized. They are speaking out, and they are saying, we want change, but we also want change with people who have not been so much into the establishment. And so for that reason, and for that reason alone, I believe that what has happened in America has some similarities going on in Ghana.
Does this give you...
I don't know what it will end up.
So in the heat of campaigning, we heard Mr. Trump making comments to the effect that he will deport illegal immigrants. And he wasn't just referring to Mexicans, but Africans as well, including Ghanaians who have not formalized their stay in that country. So will his win adversely affect U.S.-Ghana relations? That's the question we posed to U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Robert Jackson.
Our Africa policy has changed very little over the last several decades, so I am not expecting significant changes in the U.S. relationship with Ghana. I expect that our assistance programs will continue pretty much as they are. The Young African Leaders Initiative is already funded for the coming year, so I would expect that to continue. The variations that I think we're likely to see are more in relationship to the larger world powers, and we'll, I have no doubt, be hearing more about the relationship with NATO and some of our other alliances.
And as we indicated earlier, the entire world was waiting with bated breath to see who emerges as the leader of the free world, including many Ghanaians. And we stayed up pretty much into the night, keenly observing the voting process. But ahead of tonight's, should I say this morning's election outcome, there were many predictions by pollsters, by politicians, and by prophets. One of them is T.B. Joshua, who predicted that Hillary Clinton will win the election.
10 days ago, I was in the vision. They were telling me that at that 10 days ago, it was man that will have won the election. The Lord said, narrowly, there's a state that enormously 99% vote for this woman. And the woman narrow win. But I saw her facing several challenges over many issues. The Congress will be on her neck, including passing the bill. Issue of bill will be disturbed his regimes. It will not start now, but by February you'll start seeing the attempt to possibly pass a vote just to vote of no covenant on the new. The vote of the new president will be rocked. That when the vote is rocked. Okay.
So that's a Nigerian evangelist, Prophet T.B. Joshua there, and clearly he missed the mark. And he's suffering the brunt of his prediction on social media. A lot of people coming down heavy on him for his failed prophecy, if you like. But let's move on. And often when we report about the NDC and MPP, it usually is about the two parties being hostile or acrimonious towards each other. So it's strange that one might court the other, but that's exactly what the MPP is doing. The Volta regional branch of the party is courting the founder of the NDC and former president, Jerry Rawlings. The party called on the former president at his residence in Accra over concerns the elections could be compromised by their fear that Togolese nationals might participate in Ghana's election next month. Here's Volta Regional Chairman of the party, John Peter Amewu.
Use the radio as an announcement, other means of information to appeal to these people in the Republic of Togo that they should take their time in exercising their democratic franchise in Ghana, since by law they are not supposed to do so. Your Excellency, all parties in Ghana should adopt an approach akin to democratic tolerance and should work together to achieve a common political ground while accepting diversity differences and seeking progress through inclusive democracy. In such a political approach, we need to work together to eschew new rules of behavior on how political parties can engage one another to ensure the atmosphere of political certainty and predictability. His Excellency, the MPP in Volta region have made serious appeal to the National Party, and it's interesting that I made this known to you. In our manifesto, the party have decided that we will be extending the national gas infrastructure pipeline to the southern part of Volta region. His Excellency, the attempt of the MPP to do this is to open the southern part of Volta region to become an industrial base for all Ghanaians and all people living within. Volta region as a party, His Excellency, with assurance from the regional chairman and his team, will open its administration, God willing, if we become the next government. We will run the region.
Now, whilst not making any promises, Mr. Rawlings cautioned against any violence on the part of the two main parties, saying it was important to conduct the polls in peace.
Because time is a little too short. But at the same time, I do appreciate the point you're making about trying to make sure that we do not undermine the integrity of the process. Yes. After all, that's the only way we can ensure a peaceful election, when we do not undermine the climate, the justness of what is required of us. But at the same time, as I'm saying this, I would like to remind ourselves that I guess most parties are working towards winning the election. And I'm hoping for the best. I wish all of you the best, as I do for the NDC, the NPP, as well as the others. What the one serious appeal was something I made at the last election is another appeal I would like to make. That is, irrespective of whoever emerges as the winner, I hope the losing parties and their support base would have no reason to feel insecure. I think it's important that we take the necessary steps to give the necessary assurance to all citizens.
And speaking of the NPP, the party's presidential candidate, Nana Akufo-Addo, has been campaigning in parts of the Greater Accra region. He's promising to drastically reduce the cost of fishing equipment and also roll out his much talked about free SHS program. The NPP leader is expected to continue his campaign in parts of the region today. We'll bring you updates in our subsequent bulletins. But still on the NPP, wife of the party's running mate, Samira Bawumia, has denied insulting President Mahama, saying her words were misrepresented. Mrs. Bawumia recently received huge criticism following her fierce condemnation of President Mahama's administration. At a recent rally in Accra, she said the president will go down in history as the most incompetent president to have led Ghana. Her comments have attracted criticisms by supporters of the NDC, including Ghana's ambassador to Saudi Arabia, Said Sinari, who has described her in unsavory terms. But speaking on the Super Morning Show Tuesday, Samira Bawumia said her comments were misconstrued and she's asking Ghanaians to vote out the NDC.
It's been 8 years of NDC and Ghanaians need a change.
Do you think that's enough? I mean, just that,
it's
belief that 8 years are up, time for the next guy to come along. Do you think that is enough to win you this election?
Well, no, it's never one factor, but it's an important factor because in 8 years you should have something significant to show for if you expect another 4-year mandate. So yes, so after 8 years people are asking questions. Could it have been better? Absolutely. So do we want change? Absolutely. That's the way I see it. And then also we're looking at what we are offering as an alternative. That's also very important. We talk about this growing together concept of the NPP. I'm sure you've heard about this $1 million per constituency we're proposing. To him whom much is given, much is expected. And they forget to mention when they say they've done so much that they've borrowed the most. They've had the most resources. But what we're saying is that after squandering all that money, what do we have to show for it? That should, things have to be contextualized. Because if you don't put it in context, how do you know how you've grown? So somebody can wake up today and be at a 0.100, but it's important to know where they came from. You know what I mean? So that person, another person may be at 0.60, but he may have come from 0.20, and the 100 person may be from 0.95.
And you heard Samira Bawumia, who's wife of NPP running mate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Another candidate who is vigorously pushing for votes is Ivor Greenstreet of the Convention People's Party. He's been campaigning in the Eastern region, and I will bring you more updates on that as we go along. Now, to vote in school now, and if you want to decide who wins the Flagstaff House in December, your best bet is voting in the upcoming elections, of course. And for your vote to matter, processes at your polling station must be done in accordance with the law. Over the next few days in our voting school segment, we'll be telling you what you should be seeing at your polling stations after the end of voting. Now today, presidential aspirants who were handed a second chance by the Supreme Court will know if they have made it onto the ballot as the Electoral Commission makes a final announcement on who can contest the polls. Already, the NDC, the MPP, CPP and an independent candidate have been cleared to contest. We are hearing that the UFP's Odike has withdrawn from the race. It's not clear why he has taken that decision, but he has declined comment on it, only saying that it is personal. The decision comes a day after his party reminded the Electoral Commission of a pending case in court challenging the eligibility of Mr. Odike to contest in the race. Some executives of the UPP dragged Mr. Odike to court in September 2016 to prevent him from filing his nomination forms. And we will bring you updates on that because the Electoral Commission is scheduled to address a news conference on that particular matter in a couple of hours. Joy News will be bringing you updates on that. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has set the 14th of November to give its judgment in the lawsuit seeking an order to compel the Electoral Commission to announce results of the special voting on the day of casting, to file memorandum of issues by the close of day today. As a member of the MPP, Dr. Kwame Amoako-Tufo, and two others proceeded to the Supreme Court to seek an order to compel the Commission to announce results of special voting on the same day it was held. And you can get more of this if you stick and stay on Joy News, your election headquarters, because there will be details on the polls with Francis Aban, who comes up next. I'm Marba Kumsin, and that's how we wrap up the show. Join us same time tomorrow.